up, so if she doesn't show up, we won't do that.
Oh, good. I mean, not good, but I think we should wait till she's here.
Exactly.
Sorry, I didn't make it home.
If Vicki doesn't show up, we're not going to do the recognition of the department. She's at a meeting, and so she might not be here.
Maybe we should say that.
I will. I will. Good evening, Placerville. It is 6 o'clock, and today is Tuesday, July 9th, 2013, and I'd like to call to order the regularly scheduled meeting of the Placerville City Council. And at this point, I'd like to invite you to stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and Mr. Pierre Rivas, would you lead us off tonight? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. May we have the roll call, please, Ms. Zito?
Councilmember Borelli.
Here.
Vice Mayor Hagan.
Here.
Councilmember Patton.
Here.
Mayor Thomas.
Here.
Councilmember Wilkins.
Here. Fabulous. With that, we come to item 3, and I am so excited about item 3. Let me get my prop. Main Street matters. Doggone it, sure matters in Placerville, and we won the National Benjamin Moore Contest. This arrived yesterday. The winner was announced yesterday, and for those of you who don't know, it was narrowed down to 100 cities in the United States and Canada, and it was done by popular vote as to which Main Street would be repainted and refreshed and refurbished, compliments of Benjamin Moore and Main Street Matters program. And Brad Pitt is the spearhead behind the Main Street Matters program. Now, I don't know if Brad's coming to Placerville. I don't know, but I'll let you know if we hear from Brad. But Carl's here, so he can fill in for Brad. That's good.
What more could we ask?
That's right. So we just heard yesterday that we have won. There are 20 cities in United States and Canada, and we are one of them. Our Main Street will be repainted, I think, this year, going into early next year. We learned today that they're going to do 2 blocks. Now, what's a block? I don't know. A block in New York City is very big, so we're thinking, we're talking long blocks, but Benjamin Moore will decide that. They'll be working with us, with community members, with city leaders. We don't know, how quite we're going to decide how this is all going to work. We had one instruction from them today that came in this can. The Downtown Association is going to be the lead agency on this exciting project. And like I said, they'll be coordinating with all of us as they get information. So our one assignment this week is to document our excitement as a city as to what this contest means to us. And it has to be received in New Jersey, their headquarters, by this Friday. We have like 4 days to do this. So I heard about this today and I said, we have a city council meeting tonight. So we're going to have a little fun. Our own George Spriggs, who's our IT guy at City Hall, is going to. He has a little video flip phone video camera that Benjamin Moore sent us. The City Council is going to come in the front, have a little spiel that we're going to say, and then George is going to pan to Lieutenant Nida. Lieutenant Nida's going to start the excitement going. She's going to start a wave that's going to go through staff, through city council, back through staff, and out in the audience, and all you are participating. And so we're going to show America how passionate Placerville is about our Main Street. So that's your assignment tonight. So with that, let's have some fun. Oops, let's hold this. Carl, you can hold that.
I can hold that.
And we are proud to be a Benjamin Moore 2013 Main Street. We are absolutely delighted to be a part of Main Street Matters, because Main Street is our Main Street is the heart of our community. So thank you. Thank you to all of our supporters who chose Placerville to win, and our biggest thanks to Benjamin Moore and Main Street Matters for helping us restore the luster of this charming, historic town. We are all passionate about Placerville. And when you get a look at us, I know you will be too. So let's show our support and our thanks for Main Street Matters. Well, that's not a normal part of a city council meeting, but this is not an ordinary contest. So keep watching the Placerville Downtown Association website for official information, and they will keep that updated as we all learn more about what this process involves. So it's going to be exciting for Placerville. And with that, we have item number 4, closed session report. Is there anything to report? City Attorney Driscoll.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. That's going to be a hard one to follow. Yes, we do have something to report. The city has reached an agreement with the Placerville Police Officers Association, and the agreement has been executed by all parties. It's a 2-year term agreement going from July 1st of this year to June 30th of 2015. In the first year, there will be a 5% restoration of salary beginning with the first pay period in July of this year, and 50% or 4 hours of the MTO weekly accrual will be eliminated. There is also a longevity pay program as part of the package. There is a permanent elimination of employer-paid deferred comp. In addition, the current employees' medical insurance contributions, the employees will be paying 20% of the increase in the medical insurance premiums effective January 1st of 2014. Measure J will be repaying about $8,000 to the interloan from the interloan fund back to the reserve for economic uncertainties. In the second year, there is again scheduled a 5% restoration of salary along with the remaining MTO time being eliminated. Employees hired before October 15, 2011 will begin paying 1% of the employee's pension contribution effective the first full pay period of July 2014. And also in that year, the employees will pay 20% of the increase in medical insurance premiums effective January 1st, 2015. And Measure J will be repaying $10,000 back to the Reserve for Economic Uncertainties. There are some other housekeeping measures, if you will, contained in the agreement, and copies of the agreement are available at City Hall should anybody desire to see that.
All right. Thank you, City Attorney Driscoll. And on behalf of the City Council, we'd like to express our thanks to the Placerville Police Officers Association for working with us for these last several years and making sure that we could stay fiscally solvent and keep our service levels at a point that our community deserves. So thank you for working with us to make that possible, and glad to see things are moving forward. All right. With that, we have the adoption of the agenda, and I actually do have a change. I would like to move council reports, which is item number 12, after the consent calendar and right before ordinances, if that is all right with council.
Move for adoption with the changes.
Second.
It is moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. All right. Agenda is adopted. With that, we are at item 6, ceremonial matters. And item 6.1 was the recognition of the retirement of the Superintendent of Education, Dr. Vicki Barber. And I see that our esteemed supervisor, Brian Veerkamp, is in the house, and no doubt in recognition of that as well. And Dr. Barber is unfortunately tied up in a meeting, and looks like she won't be able to be here tonight, so we will postpone that for another time when we can properly recognize her. So I apologize about that. We just learned of that. So with that, we have another exciting item, 6.2, proclamation of the City Council declaring August 6th, 2013 as National Night Out in the city of Placerville. And tonight we have esteemed guests from Target and from the city of Placerville, of course, our Police Officers Association, and we have our National Night Out night in the house. So happy to have you with us. And I do have a proclamation. So who will be receiving this tonight?
Thank you, Mayor. The representative from Target, who is a major sponsor of National Night Out, Ashley Pearson, will be receiving the proclamation tonight, along with our two coordinators from the city of Placerville, Julie Burnsides and Judy Knapp, who are co-coordinating the event tonight. So, or coordinating the entire event, not just tonight.
Wow.
So they will be receiving the proclamation.
Oh, thank you, Lieutenant Knight. And National Night Out is such a huge part of who we are and such a big success. And just want to thank you, Julie and Judy, for taking on the reins to coordinate this wonderful effort, and for Ashley for being here tonight with Target as a major supporter. Couldn't happen without you. So if you'd like to come to the podium, and I will have a proclamation. And we can't forget our night. Yes. A proclamation of the City Council of the City of Placerville declaring August 6th as National Night Out 2013. Whereas the National Association of Town Watch and Target are sponsoring a unique nationwide crime, drug, and violence prevention program on August 6, 2013, entitled National Night Out, and whereas the 30th Annual National Night Out provides a unique opportunity for the city of Placerville to join forces with thousands of other communities across the country in promoting cooperative police community crime prevention efforts, and whereas the city of Placerville plays a vital role in assisting the Placerville Police Department through joint crime, drug, and violence prevention efforts in the city of Placerville and is supporting National Night Out 2013 locally, and whereas it is essential that all citizens of the city of Placerville be aware of the importance of crime prevention programs and impact that their participation can have on reducing crime, drugs, and violence in Placerville, and whereas police, community partnerships, neighborhood safety, awareness, and cooperation are important themes of the National Night Out program, now therefore I, Wendy Thomas, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Placerville, state of California, do hereby proclaim Tuesday, August 6, 2013, as National Night Out in the city of Placerville, and urge all citizens of the city of Placerville to join the Placerville Police Department, the National Association of Town Watch, and Target in supporting the 30th Annual National Night Out on August 6th. So thank you. So thank you. Photo opportunity night.
There we go.
All right. So thank you. Say a few words.
Yeah, I think Ashley.
Yeah. I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank you for having me tonight, and really on behalf of Target and El Dorado Hills, I'm excited to kick off our partnership this year, continuing that partnership for the community and law enforcement officials. And I also brought something for you guys to kick off this year, the 30th anniversary.
How fun.
So these are Target and Blue Target dogs for
Oh.
our council members.
How cute. Oh.
While she's handing those out,
Really appreciate it.
I would like to add that National Night Out is on Tuesday, August 6th, and we have 4 events at 4 city-sponsored events at the library, at Sierra School, at the park, the city pool,
Okay.
and also the kickoff is at Moore at 5:30. So, at 5 o'clock. So I would just want the community to know to go to all those events and have a National Night Out and meet their neighbors.
Wonderful. Yes, please, absolutely.
I have a question. If a neighborhood wanted to have their own party, can they do that? And if so, what do they do?
Yes, we have several neighborhoods doing their own parties. There's about 20 neighborhood parties occurring, they can contact either Julie Burnsides at the police department or Judy Knapp through the Boys and Girls, Big Brothers, Big Sisters. Thanks, Judy. Sorry. So they'd have to coordinate now because we're right now cementing everything in.
Thank you.
Great. Patty?
That was my question too. The way you said it, I misunderstood. I thought you were just going to have 4
We have 4
city-sponsored, but you know what? It
and
just
then, it's all right. And then we have approximately 20 smaller venues that are
okay,
occurring
great.
as
Okay,
well.
so we're still
Wow.
going to do the neighborhood thing.
Exactly.
So 24 events going on in the city of Placerville.
Approximately.
That's amazing.
It's great. It
Yes.
is great. Judy and Julie have done an outstanding job in coordinating this at the last minute because we had our volunteers, we had a problem, and so they have picked up the ball on this and ran with it.
And I'm sorry, who's doing it now?
Right behind me,
But I
Judy
mean,
and Julie.
and what are they? I heard you say something about.
There are
others.
co-coordinators.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
normally we have our SHIELD volunteers,
Right,
Suzanne
right.
Ball and Bonnie Rogers doing
Okay.
it. They weren't able to do it this year because of circumstances beyond their control. So
Okay.
both of these kind ladies stepped up and said they will do it.
Oh,
So
wonderful.
It is really
Thank you,
appreciated.
ladies.
That's a tremendous gift to our community. It takes an inordinate amount of time. We greatly appreciate you stepping up to ensure that we're in the top 5 of National Night Out like we have been. And so thank you so much for your efforts. And to all of our to all of our citizens who have never participated in National Night Out, I encourage you to seek a city-sponsored event out or join one of your neighborhood gatherings. It's just a wonderful, wonderful night of community that is just really, really special, and I urge you to participate. Councilmember Patton, yes.
Can we get the contact information posted on the city's website?
Oh, that's a great idea. Great
So-
idea. So we all look forward to participating, and thank you, Placerville Police Department, and thank you, Target, for making this possible in Placerville. We greatly appreciate it. And with that, we have a very exciting oath of office. We are absolutely delighted to have our Director of Development Services filled by our very own Mr. Pierre Rivas. It is just so exciting. And Susan Zito, our city clerk, will be administering the oath of office.
If you'll raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, please state your name,
I, Pierre Rivas,
do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the Constitution
and allegiance to the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
upon which I am about to enter.
upon which I'm about to enter.
Congratulations.
So happy to have you here. This is great. Pierre, I feel like you've come home. And yes, for those of you who don't know, Mr. Rivas has served our community in so many ways through the years. Through grassroots efforts on our planning commission, on the city council, he served as mayor, and he's been a senior planner with the county of El Dorado. And so he comes to us well equipped. He knows our city staff, he knows our community. He's the perfect person to lead us forward in ensuring that our development services department reflects our community and is a true partner with our community. And so we are absolutely delighted to have you back home. So welcome, Pierre.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor, but I have to live up to that expectation.
Yes, you do.
You already have. We'll hold you to it. We're glad you're here. All right. And with that, we are at public comment. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons wishing to address the council on any matter not on the agenda that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council. We cannot act on items not listed on under the agenda. And if you'd like to speak, you may come to the microphones. Please state your name for the record and have 3 minutes to speak. And before we get to oral communications, Mr. Morris, has there been any written communications with the council?
None this time, Mayor.
All right, thank you. And with that, we move on to item point 2, oral communications. Good evening.
Good evening. Sue Rodman, Placerville resident, and I am wondering what has happened to the county board of supervisors and the $300,000 savings that was proposed for the Placerville interchange project by Doug Veerkamp. Did they ever get it together so that we can make that savings?
We can get that answered for you after public comment. Great. Thank you very much. Good evening.
Good evening, Council, Madam Mayor. I'd like to just take a brief moment to hope that our firemen up the hill are not in harm's way. And this is a very hot and difficult fire, I'm sure. And we're enjoying a nice cool evening here. And I just hope nobody gets hurt up there. Then with that, I'd like to talk about Clay Street. Clay Street seems to be a major problem for the city, and in reality, the problem was solved by the city many years ago. If you drive up Broadway and you come to Wiltsey Road, you have a stop sign which allows the people on Wiltsey Road to enter into Broadway, whether they want to go east or west. That same concept can be used right up here at the intersection where the pedestrian walkway it goes across to the Cosmic Cafe. I spent 2 hours there Saturday morning, probably the most congested weekend of the year, 4th of July, farmer's market, sweetie pies, everybody and his brothers out there. And basically what happened was that crosswalk became a stop sign because there was a continual flow of people and there was a continual flow of automobiles. Very busy intersection, and nobody got backed up. Everybody came around the corner, stopped, maybe 2, 3 cars, a couple would move, and it worked nice. The people that were on Clay Street were able to enter Main Street because the people were waiting for the pedestrians to cross at the intersection. So if you go up and take a look at Wiltsey Street, and that problem's been solved for a lot of years, you could save a heck of a lot of money by buying one stop sign. Okay? The next thing is I want to talk about the Clay Street Bridge.
You've got 1 more minute, Mr. Batchelor.
Okay. The Clay Street Bridge, they have a 100-year plan, okay? Flood, rather. Going back to the gold rush days, Hangtown Creek was used as a flume. And it came right down through my property. About 11 years ago, EID ceased to use it as a flume. So the volume of water coming down EID or down Hangtown Creek has diminished tremendously. And I'm saying that bridge structurally can handle whatever Mother Nature can give it. And that's about all I have to say right now. But I encourage you people to go up and stand in front of the Cosmic Cafe on a busy Saturday. And you'll be surprised to learn how well that intersection functions.
Thank you, Mr. Batchelor.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening, Evelyn Veerkamp, Placerville. In April, Mayor Thomas, you stated publicly that a Placerville business person had been aggressively threatened to contribute financially to the 2011 roundabout lawsuit. That sounded remarkably like attempted extortion. Last week via email, I asked you about progress made in bringing to justice the person who had acted so egregiously, and requested that you report back at this meeting. Thank you for your subsequent email indicating your plan to respond tonight during council member reports, and also for providing a draft of your possible remarks. You would like to put behind us the so-labeled negative legal issue, and you write about good neighborliness and mutual respect. The Friends of Historic Hangtown, litigants in the successful 2011 roundabout lawsuit, certainly do value those bedrock civilities. The group's members were shocked to hear about the threat reported from your anonymous source. I can assure you that the tool bag of the Friends of Historic Hangtown categorically does not include extortion or any form of intimidation. Absent any useful information from either you or the person who told you her story, a cloud still hangs in the air. That is regrettable. Allow me, however, to borrow a quotation you used in April. No one can go back and make a brand new start, but we can start now and make a new ending. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Good evening.
Hello. We live up on 1622 Broadway.
Please state your name for the record.
Mark and Gina, my wife.
Gina.
Okay.
We have homeless people up there. They're tracking garbage, carpets, they build up their forts. They defecate in our driveway. One was masturbating down there the other week, all because of your homeless haven. They drink all day, they fight, they pass out, we call the cops and they come. It's pretty gross, pretty disgusting, really.
So I basically call the police department on a daily basis and let them know they're down there. They're next to Creekview Liquor Store, which is the bottom of our driveway. It goes up behind Mr. Machado's property down there. And they're down there all hours of the day and night. It's like a dump down there. It's garbage, waste, broken bottles. Just about on a daily basis, I have to pick up garbage, broken glass, cans, wrappers, you name it, it's down there. And it's just ridiculous. It's getting worse and worse every day. So regardless of the Hangtown Haven, that's an issue in itself. We have these other homeless people that live in these makeshift tents, tarps, whatever you want to call it. They find whatever garbage or cardboard they can, and they're down there in the blackberry bushes, and the police are urging us to come to these meetings to let all of you know this is what's going on. We cannot be the only ones that are upset with this. It's really sad. We've been up here for 7 years, and we moved up here because it's a nice little quiet area, and these last couple years it's just gone downhill. It's just awful.
Okay. All right, we'll definitely talk about that. Thank you so much for coming, Mark and Gina. Anyone else? All right. If you'd like to stay for just a minute, I'd like to ask Lieutenant Nida. Thank you. With that, I'll close public comment. And Lieutenant Nida, okay, that's all right. How do you suggest if people do see, now there's a difference from what I understand with people living at the Haven and people living in rogue illegal camps along our city. What advice do you have for people if they have a camp that they see or are bothered by this kind of disgusting activity that they stated tonight? What is your recommendation for citizens?
Definitely call us on a continual basis. I mean, that's the only way that unfortunately, all we are doing is just moving the people from one location to another location to another location within the city. But it will move them at the time. So, and some of them we get to arrest. So it solves the problem for a temporary amount of time.
Are the people that was described tonight, are those typically residents of Hangtown Haven, or are they outside the Haven?
Both.
They are both. Okay. All right. And so what is our policy as the city of Placerville for illegal camps?
We are regularly citing them and cleaning them up. In fact, we have a cleanup tomorrow that's occurring.
Okay, great.
So we're going around every week and putting notices on the camps that are illegal and then moving them along.
Because it is my understanding that the city of Placerville, while we have Hangtown Haven for those that qualify to live there as a solution, that on the same token, we aggressively root out and dismantle illegal homeless camps because we will not have legal camping and illegal camping within the city limits.
That's correct.
And that is our stance.
Yes.
And we are vigilant about that, so, yeah.
Unfortunately, it's really rampant right now, especially in the summertime. We just have a lot
Yeah.
of illegal homeless camps, and every week we have patrol officers out there tagging them and moving them, but
It's kind of a seasonal thing.
well, I mean,
some
it occurs
degree.
in the winter, but it's larger in the summertime.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for all your efforts to root that out.
Thank you.
Councilmember Patton?
I just have a question. I recently came to my awareness that there's a camp on Placerville Drive on the corner of Fair Lane and Placerville Drive, and also one behind Gothic Rose up in the alleyway, and wondering if either one of those have been looked at.
Fairlane and Placerville Drive, and what was the other one?
It's the alleyway as it comes out onto Main Street behind Gothic
Reservoir?
Rose, Reservoir Street.
Okay.
That there's a new one.
We
a
do
new
know of
old
that one. The one on Fairlane and Placerville Drive, I'm not sure of. I know that there are quite a few along Ray Lawyer and back in that area, so.
Now, this is in the oak trees that are below Big Lots in that corner.
Okay, I'll make note of it and let our patrol staff know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant Nida. And with that, I'd like to invite Supervisor Veerkamp to come to the podium. And would you like to fill us in on what has happened with the potential savings of the Western Placerville interchange? Since we have you in the house, we're going to make you work. Welcome.
Brian Veerkamp, District 3 Supervisor. The potential savings that we had hoped to receive turned out, due to the Board of Supervisors having to recuse themselves. One of them was Supervisor Nutting. Couldn't vote on the project because it involved federal funding, and he's been removed from all votes that deal with federal funding. And the second was Supervisor Briggs, because the project potentially affects Briggs' family property. So without having 4/5 vote available, we can't move the project forward because it involves a take of county property. So it's my understanding that they may still be working on a sliver to reduce the size of the retaining wall, which may drive the cost down a little bit, but that's where it's at. So reluctantly, that's the story, yeah. So, yeah, we talked about the rule of necessity, but apparently in the legal world, we can't make that work either. And there's special circumstances that have to apply, and even though it's a savings, the recusing of board members still applies. So it doesn't make sense, does it? No, I know.
No.
I agree.
Thank you, Supervisor Veerkamp. It's certainly regrettable, but thank you for filling us in. Appreciate it. And thanks for being here. All right. With that, we move on to item 8, the consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar are considered routine and will be enacted by one motion by roll call vote unless any member of the council wishes to remove an item for discussion. After. Yes.
I have a correction to the minutes, so do I need to pull it, or?
Is it?
No.
Yeah, pull 8.1?
Pull 8.1, please.
All right, 8.1. Are there any other changes to the consent calendar? All right. Is there any member of the public that wishes to comment on any item on the consent calendar? Please state your name for the record again.
Sue Rodman, Placerville resident, and on the 8.4, to finally do something about the Placerville Drive Bridge. Hooray! Finally, I think this should have been part of widening Placerville Drive originally. It's too bad it wasn't, but I'm really glad to see that we're finally going to get it done.
Amen. Thank you. Any other member of the public wish to comment? All right, bring it back to the council for a motion.
I move that we approve the consent calendar with the exception of 8.1.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. May we have the roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Borelli?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Hagan?
Aye.
Councilmember Patton?
Aye.
Mayor Thomas?
Aye.
Councilmember Wilkins?
Aye.
Consent calendar is approved. And with that, we come to council reports. And Vice Mayor Hagan, let's start with you.
This past week, I guess on July 1st and on June 27th, had meetings regarding Hangtown Haven with Board of Supervisors, and who was the other one with? But anyway, I had a couple of meetings this week with the mayor, and I were meeting with the supervisor and I believe the fire department over in Diamond Springs, so, among other miscellaneous meetings.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Hagan. Councilmember Wilkins.
Oh, was it last Friday was the Brewfest, and it was a great event. I did that, and the most exciting part was the beer was really good, but the best part was it was the second to last day of the voting for that. So Mayor Thomas gave me a stack of flyers to get people to remember to vote, like a final surge, and so I did that, and I even grabbed some phones out of their hands and actually voted there on the spot for them. So that was a really cool event.
Well, you probably put us over the top, and I believe Michael Drobish helped. He certainly helped us put all the signs up. Really appreciate all those efforts. So thank you so much for doing that. Councilmember Borelli.
Well, I was back over at Auburn for another state court meeting. I'm going back tomorrow.
Oh, gosh.
We're going to elect our new CEO tomorrow, so
Great.
yeah. And I went to the Board of Supervisors meeting to listen to this CDAC presentation and other things in the afternoon meeting. Also attended the Beer Fest. Also attended the fireworks in El Dorado Hills and at the fairgrounds, and also attended a 2x2 meeting with the county.
Thank you. Councilmember Patton.
Pretty quiet in my world. I did go to a LAFCO meeting, and then we agreed to not have 2 more meetings. So that was really
That's nice.
That was really nice. And then he just asked today for a special one. So, anyways, but that was productive. And the Brewfest was really fun. But you know what? I didn't even drink any beer this year. I listened to the music, and the entertainment this year was off the charts, and I just want to thank the Placerville Downtown Association and whoever they work with to put on such a great community event, because you don't have to pay anything to see what I considered world-class entertainers. So from this person's perspective, I really appreciated that this year. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for that perspective. That's wonderful. I've spent a great deal of my time on Hangtown Haven and meeting with the various agencies involved, and on the Main Street Matters campaign, which has certainly come to a successful conclusion, and look forward to getting started on that. With that, I wish to respond to Ms. Veerkamp's repeated inquiries about a comment I made at our neighborhood chat, where I expressed my anger over the fact that one of our business owners, who chose not to help fund a lawsuit against the city, was repeatedly harassed by a member of the group involved in the lawsuit. This week, I received correspondence from Ms. Veerkamp asking what progress I was making in, and I quote, bringing to justice the individual who aggressively threatened one of our business owners. This has been the 3rd request, and I'd like to respond once and for all. I have spoken with the DA's office and received the same answer Ms. Veerkamp received. A complaint must be filed by the injured party in order for that matter to be pursued. As to what I was doing to, quote, bring people to justice, well, that is beyond the purview of this council. I have also had conversations with the business owner involved, and they do not wish to pursue this. They just want to operate their business in peace. If you have owned your own business, you can fully understand that sometimes it is all you can do to run your business, take care of your customers, deal with your employees, and find some time to live your life. There is not the mental energy to deal with this kind of negative legal issue, and it is absolutely their prerogative to make that decision. Finally, I applaud Ms. Veerkamp's outrage over the harassment of one of our valued business owners. I share your anger and your concern, and I encourage you to channel your tenacious energies into an area where you have a strong sphere of influence. You are a vocal opponent of the roundabout, and I implore you to encourage members of your group to be good neighbors. No doubt, with your persuasive abilities you can successfully impress upon them that a person has as much right to oppose a roundabout as a business owner has not to join a lawsuit. One of the blessings of being an American is that we are all free to choose our own position without fear of recrimination. Beyond that, I feel we have a sacred responsibility to build a supportive community where we look for common ground. And when we can't find it, we simply agree to disagree. And that ends the council reports. And before we move on to ordinances, we are delighted to see you, Dr. Vicki Barber, here in our audience tonight. Thank you for coming down to Placerville. Is there anything we need to do to go back? Sure. So with that, I'd love to go back to item 6.1, a recognition of retirement. Recognition of retirement of Superintendent of Education, Dr. Vicki Barber. So welcome. We're so glad you're here. If you'd like to please join us at the podium tonight.
First of all, my apologies for being late. I was at a chamber board meeting and it ran long, much longer than I had anticipated, so please accept my apologies. So I just want you to know this isn't part of the retirement mode of just being late by this period of time. I really appreciate the opportunity to be before you and to thank you personally.
Well, we're delighted that you made the time to be with us tonight. I know you're a busy lady, and we just appreciate you being in our house. So. With that, Dr. Barber, it is absolutely our privilege to honor you tonight for your contributions to education in El Dorado County. Dr. Barber received her bachelor's degree and her master's degree from Sacramento State. She's a local girl, and she received her doctorate of educational psychology at the University of the Pacific. Starting as a director of special education in 1983, Dr. Barber was elected County Superintendent of Schools in 1994, and after 4 re-elections, she is celebrating her retirement with 19 years of service as County Superintendent. Her dedication to our community, however, reaches far beyond her service within our educational system. And you can tell much about a person's heart with how they spend their time. That's evidence tonight. Dr. Barber has dedicated her time and her energies to countless community boards, including the El Dorado County Chamber of Commerce, the Western Slope Boys and Girls Club, El Dorado Community Foundation, MORE, Marshall Hospital, First 5 El Dorado, Hands for Hope, and numerous others. In 2011, Dr. Barber was recognized as Outstanding School Administrator in the state of California. And in 2012, she was honored as an exemplary leader by the esteemed American Leadership Forum. And so tonight, Dr. Barber, as we express our deepest thanks for your dedication to our community and its children, we celebrate your retirement, and we wish you much joy as you move into this next phase of your life. And with that, to express our esteem, I know you have a wall full of plaques and trophies, but we felt that an extra mile award is appropriate because you have certainly given us an extra mile in all of your years of service and dedication, and I have a feeling, because of who you are, that's not going to stop. So we thank you for going the extra mile for El Dorado County.
Wow. I am truly humbled in terms of being before you. Each of you do such great public service. All of the folks that are here constantly give of their time and their effort. We are very, very fortunate in El Dorado County to have such great public leaders, community leaders that are so invested in our youth and do such a great job. We always talk about why our schools are doing such a great job, and we certainly give credit to our teachers and our staff who are exemplary leaders. They do a fabulous job. We're very, very fortunate to have such incredible teachers in our classrooms, such great support staff, such great administrators. We also give credit to our parents, because we know that parents who are engaged in their children's education, it makes such a difference. And thirdly, we give credit to the community, because all of you who are so invested, who are so supportive of public education in this county, make such a difference. So thank you very, very much for what you do, all of you. We appreciate your support, and we look forward to continuing to have great public education in El Dorado County. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And thank you, Ms. Zito, for arranging for that beautiful award for Dr. Barber. We really appreciate your efforts on that. Thank you again for being here. All right. All right. Let me reorder things. And we are at item 9, ordinances. 9.1. Second reading of an ordinance amending Title 8, Chapter 11, basically park regulations, and it's we need to revisit this once again. And Mr. Ewell, would you like to start us off this evening?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The draft ordinance before you tonight represents staff's attempt to reflect the ordinance as introduced at the June 25th council meeting. The draft ordinance as introduced includes the following changes. Park listings. Language was added to identify existing parks and the El Dorado Trail. Smoking language was added to prohibit smoking in Benham Park and require appropriate receptacles where smoking is permitted. Considerable changes were made to the dogs and animal language. It was condensed to read as follows. Any person who enters a park with any animal in that person's charge shall maintain control over such animal by leash, lead, or other type of restraint control, including voice command, and shall not allow such animal to stray or run at large within the park. Dogs shall be properly licensed and vaccinated. No person shall fail to promptly remove from any park to an inappropriate receptacle fecal matter deposited thereon by any animal in said person's charge. The language was condensed for bicycles. No person shall ride or use a bicycle through or within any park facility where such activity is prohibited by posted signs. Anyone riding a bicycle with any park facility shall not ride it in such a manner that threatens to or injures persons, animals, or property. The skateboard, roller skate, scooter language was amended to read as follows. No person shall ride or use roller skates, roller blades, skateboards, or scooters within any park facility where such activity is prohibited by posted signs. Any person riding or using roller skates, roller blades, skateboards, or scooters within any park facility shall do so within any park facility shall so in a safe manner and shall not do so in such a manner that threatens or injures persons, animals, or property. And with that, although a sincere effort has been made to establish park rules in time for the summer season, it's now apparent that summer will soon be over. And I think this circumstance kind of provides an opportunity for us to consider some other options potentially. Option one would be to follow the direction provided by City Council on June 25th and introduce the attached ordinance. A second option worth consideration might be to take the proposed draft ordinance back to the Recreation and Parks Commission for further review. In staff's opinion, that is in the city's best interest for the Recreation and Parks Commission to take a closer look at the proposed language regarding the supervision of animals and the possession of firearms within the city's park system and report back to City Council. In addition to that, as a caveat, I think it would be a good idea for the Recreation and Parks Commission to work with city staff to look at the potential development of a dog park within the city park system. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. And
Thank you so much, Mr. Ewell. Appreciate it. And I'd like to frame the conversation tonight. This is the third time we've looked at this. We are not starting from square one. I just wanted to assure you that. After the last city council meeting, the comments were all over the place, and as with this audience, as with the council, and it kind of got convoluted, and I think I rushed a motion especially, and it seems that we just need to do this right. And with a few tweaks that staff recommended tonight with the dogs and animals, the possession of firearms, and that if we're not trying to push this to get it in the summer, let's just do it right and take a look at a dog park. So that's the framework of this conversation tonight. We're not starting over. We're just making a final tweak. And I do have a question for you, Mr. Yule. We received some wonderful correspondence from Chuck Holland this week, and first of all, I really want to thank you, Mr. Holland, for your excellent letter. It was excellent advice, and really appreciate the respectful tone that you sent in it. So it was very helpful. So, and let me read this paragraph. And Steve, is this kind of what you're thinking as far as staff, as far as the proposed possession of firearms within the city parks? So we're all on the same page. Mr. Holland writes, the simple fix to your newly proposed ordinance would be to include a complete exemption for persons issued a license to carry a concealed firearm, or in the alternative, to prohibit firearms in city parks generally, and understand that state law allows persons with a specific license to carry a firearm even in the city parks. So by saying we prohibit firearms in parks, that allows state and federal laws to apply. Is that correct?
I'd actually defer
To City Attorney Driscoll.
City Attorney Driscoll.
Sorry, Steve.
Yes, Madam Mayor, you correctly stated that.
Okay.
The city, I mean, I read Mr. Holland's letter, and in all due respect to him, he does raise some excellent points.
Mm-hmm.
However, the city does have the right to ban firearms within its facilities. There's this California Supreme Court decision in 2002 stemming out of Alameda County, where Alameda County had banned the possession of firearms in gun shows at their fairgrounds. And the court said that it was within the purview of local jurisdictions to control what happens on their property. And it is limited strictly to governmental property owned. However, I think that Mr. Holland's suggestion as to what to do is an excellent one and does eliminate potential problems.
Great. And is enforceable.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Because that's certainly an important consideration. All right, thank you for that clarification. At this point, does council have any questions for staff?
So, John, let me ask you again. When we say that they're not allowed, that's just for the general. But if somebody has a permit, they are allowed. Is that?
If that's the way the council wants to structure the enforcement of the ordinance, that's correct.
Does that answer your question?
It does. I just think it's kind of misleading. I mean, we say they're not allowed, and then we allow them. I mean, they are allowed. We say they're not allowed.
Well, then state and federal laws apply, and
But
that
John was
is known.
saying that the local jurisdiction has the right, and we're the local jurisdiction, and we're saying they're not allowed. So.
I want to clarify that.
Okay. To be very candid, the law is not clear in terms of whether or not someone with a concealed weapon permit can carry a weapon within a local government facility. There is a code section dealing with concealed weapons and dealing with when you can take them into public buildings. There is reference in that code section to individuals that have a concealed weapon permit. That code section existed at the time that the California Supreme Court made this decision, and they did not indicate whether or not they felt it was applicable. They didn't even address it. So it's really not clear, is what I'm saying. And in that situation, I think the better approach would be to, if the council wants to do it this way, if somebody has a CCW permit, let's not make an issue out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I understand that, but I just didn't know if the language should be, if we should address, I mean, that should be included in.
It's better not to.
I think Mr. Holland's suggestion is just prohibit them, don't say anything about CCWs.
And that's a given.
And those folks know.
That's correct.
Yeah. Right. All right. Thank you for that direction. Appreciate that. So no other questions from council? Okay. At this point, we'll open public comment up. Please state your name for the record, and we will abide by the 3-minute rule. Good evening.
I know following last week that when my throat starts getting dry, I have exceeded my 3 minutes. Thank you for your tolerance last week. I went on long beyond what was allowable. I only have one question, and that is, if this goes back for final tweaking, will it, and I understand we're not doing another overhaul, when it comes back, will it come back for one reading or 2 readings? Or I don't understand the language about readings, but will it come back for 1 meeting or 2 meetings?
Yes,
Be happy to
please.
answer that. It really depends upon the tweaking.
Okay.
If they're just cosmetic changes, or there's no changes at all, then it can come back for a second reading. But if there's substantive changes, then it would come back for both a first and second reading.
Thank you very much.
The public also has the right to attend the Parks and Recreation Committee meeting.
I think that's a wonderful idea. I'll speak to you about that.
And if I might add, it is on the agenda for July 17th at
Great.
6 o'clock here at Town Hall, right here in this building.
Already on the agenda. That's wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Yule. Good evening.
Good evening, Michael Drobish, Placerville. Hopefully this Rec and Parks meeting will actually happen. Last one was canceled, so. Just be careful about adding the trail into this system. You have to realize what all the aspects within this ordinance applying to that trail and all the extra signage you're going to need on there, extra cost. And then recently, Vice Mayor Hagan mentioned that you always wanted to remove 2 regulations for every one you added to it. So if you can keep this ordinance as small as possible, then you won't have to go removing 26 old regulations somewhere. So just work to keep it small and support freedom, fewer regulations. And yes, we know that the city can ban firearms and governmental property. We're just, a lot of us asking you that you do not. You know, that you seriously consider the oath everyone has taken to uphold and defend the Constitution, and that's all we're asking for. Thank you.
Point well taken. Thank you, Michael. Any other comments tonight? Hello again.
Hello again, Sue Rodman again. I just have a couple of comments. I think it's much improved from the original and the first revision. I would still like to move the section H under if you get kicked out of the park up to the beginning of that section to clarify that if you get kicked out of one park, you are expelled from all the parks. And I'd like to submit the American Profiles, what do they call it, greenways and river walks, as something that the city of Placerville might want to really consider in terms of we have a resource of Hangtown Creek that really we're misusing and not using to anything close to its potential, and that could provide us with some extra park space and make a more walkable and pleasant city.
Thank you very much. All right. Seeing no one else, I think I'll close public comment and bring it back to the council for direction and action. So let's start on my left, Councilmember Wilkins.
Okay. I agree we should remove the trail completely. It's a separate thing, and it needs its own rules. It's like you should be able to walk on the trail after dark or commute on your bicycle. Or that was okay. And I brought it up the first meeting, the first time we discussed this. I asked for it last meeting, and I'm standing by it. I support leaving the CCW out. They know they can bring them in the parks. That's it.
All right. Thank you, Councilmember Wilkins. Vice Mayor Hagan.
No comment.
Okay. Councilmember Braley.
The only comment I have is that I'm still against the gun issue. That's
Okay.
my stand on it, so I don't.
So what is your recommendation for action?
I don't think that they should be allowed in the parks, whether you have a permit or not. I just do not think parks, where all little kids are around, and you know, we can blame it on all the latest headlines and all the killings that have happened to little children. Maybe that's what's pushing me on this, and I'm sorry, but that's my opinion.
All right. Thank you, Councilmember Braley. Councilmember Patton.
Well, I'm exactly the opposite, sorry, Patty.
I
But
don't care.
I agree that I think that the whole issue of gun control in our parks is just, that it's just overkill. And I apologize to Councilmember Wilkins because it actually is a concern of mine that we give up these liberties
Yeah,
little
I
by
agree.
little. And so I would just be a proponent of not even having anything about gun control in our parks. Just I don't know if that's where the Parks and Rec Commission is going to go, but that wouldn't hurt my feelings to remove the firearms issue completely out of the ordinance. One of the biggest concerns I have with sending this back, besides the fact that we have to look at it again, is that we've had 3 meetings now with public comment, and I think Evelyn's point about is there going to be 1 reading or 2 readings when we talk about dogs and how important dogs are in the park, and now are they going to come back as having to be on a leash and having to be controlled, and what type of controllers are we going to use, and whether that's a substantive change or not a substantive change. So I worry that we are making this too big, that we should just deal with it, finish it tonight, and call it good, and let the Parks and Rec Commission draft the signage and figure out where they're going to place the probably 50 signs now that have to go up in all the parks to address the rules. But I also have a fear that now it's going to sit somewhere waiting for a dog park to be built. And we have talked about a dog park in the vicinity of Kentucky Fried Chicken for at least 10 years now. So I'm not a proponent of having this ordinance wait for a dog park. I believe that the controlled dogs have every bit a right in our parks as the little kids who play in the tot lots and should be allowed to play. I think Patty brought it up before that the problem really isn't even with controlled dogs. It is with dogs in the middle of the night probably tearing up the lawns. But be that as it may, I would like the council to consider dealing with this ordinance tonight, and if we can't, so be it, but I would like us to consider dealing with the ordinance tonight.
Okay. To that effect, I have a question. City Manager Morris or City Attorney Driscoll, if we made some of these substantive changes, would we need to go back to square one and do a first reading again? So we're kicking it back anyway. There's nothing we can do tonight with changes in order to finish this.
The only thing you can do would be grammatical changes or
Yeah.
cosmetic changes, moving one paragraph ahead of another, something like that.
Right.
You make a substantive change, you're going to have to go back for first reading.
Right, yeah.
So that means if we deal with the firearms issue
Yes.
tonight, it has to go back again.
Yes.
Thanks. Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's a good clarification. My thought, I am agreement with just about everything that was said here tonight. Out of respect for our Parks and Recs Commission, I like option 2, to send it back to the Park and Rec Commission, do this right, but like I said, not starting from square one. I would be in favor of taking out the El Dorado Trail. I agree with those comments. I would agree with, under dogs and animals, just taking out the words including voice command. That's really unclear, because someone could say, I do have voice command of them, and they don't. So just deal with that as that is. I would go for Mr. Holland's suggestion as far as the gun issue, and I would like us to see us move boldly forward for a dog park at Lumsden if the Park and Recs Commission decides that's the best place, because we have that land. The other land by Kentucky Fried Chicken is a long time in coming. We could deal with that as a separate issue. It maybe shouldn't be a part of this this park ordinance, park ordinance, but I think that is up to the Park and Recs Commission. So, Mr. Yule, with these changes, would you have enough to go on where the Park and Recs Commission wouldn't feel totally overwhelmed?
Yes, ma'am. I think we can handle that.
Okay, all right.
Could I ask one question?
Absolutely.
You mentioned the spot down at Kentucky Fried Chicken. Would we have a problem because the creek runs there? Would there be a problem like with Fish and Game? I can just see all these dogs jumping in the creek.
There will be a lot of challenges with that particular site.
That's
but,
what I was wondering
They're
if
not
that might be too.
necessarily insurmountable.
I guess
Yeah,
we
there
could-
are a lot of challenges, line of sight, ADA access. If we use public funds, what kind of environmental impact is going to be involved with that. So there's some challenges associated with that site.
Just quickly, as far as the dog team in the creek, though, you would, even though it's down there, you still have to fence it off.
Oh, you would,
And-
okay.
And so I would assume that you would fence it so that they couldn't get into the creek, because then once they get there, they can,
And I didn't know how far
Go
back
farther.
the fence had to be, so that might, it keeps eliminating footage, you know, and
Sure.
it might end up that it wouldn't be,
right.
behoove us to do, you know. Thanks.
Well, since I did the last one, I'll move that we heed staff's recommendation and direct the Director of Community Services to work with the Recreation and Parks Commission to further refine language within the proposed park ordinance with regard to the supervision of dogs, animals, and the possession of firearms within city parks, and take out the El Dorado Trail, add that, and report back to the City Council. In addition, the Director shall work with the Commission to explore the potential for the development of a dog park.
Second.
All right. All right. All those in, it's been moved by Mayor Thompson, seconded by Councilmember Wilkins. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
All right. Motion carries. Thank you all for, I think we're getting closer on this, and it's going to be worth our time on that. So our biggest thanks to the Park and Recs Commission for being willing to tweak this and see this again. We appreciate their efforts. All right. And with that, we move on to public hearings. Item 10.1, waive the second reading of an ordinance amending Title 10 zoning of the municipal court of the City of Placerville for the Placerville Land Air Use Compatibility Plan. And I don't see Mr. Painter here, so I think you're up, Mr. Rivas.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Staff is recommending that an ordinance be amended to Title 10, and that is essentially to add the airport overlay zone. And the purpose of that is to implement the Placerville Airport Land Use Compatibility Plan, known as the ALUCP, in accordance with state law, and is adopted by the El Dorado County Airport Land Use Commission, and which was incorporated into the Placerville General Plan Land Use Element by City Council Resolution 8105, which was adopted in June 25th of 2013. Another purpose is to implement the city's general plan policy to provide for land use surrounding the Placerville Airport that is consistent with the Placerville ALUCP, and to protect lands around the airport from potential hazards of airport operations, and to identify a range of uses compatible with airport accident hazard and airport noise exposure, and to prohibit the development of incompatible uses that are detrimental to the general health, safety, and welfare, and to the existing and future airport operations, and to require noise attenuation construction within airport environs, and then lastly, to comply with the Federal Aviation Administration FAA regulations. Just to give a little background, the Planning Commission did hold a public hearing back on May 7th of 2013 to consider the amendments to Title 10 of the Municipal Code, and recommended that the City Council adopt the amendments to the code to clarify these standards. And then on June 25th of 2013, the City Council did hold a hearing and amended the general plan, and then held the first reading of the ordinance. And also, for additional background, the negative declaration was adopted by the El Dorado County ALUC on June 28th of 2012, and that serves as a CEQA document for both the general plan amendment and for the zone change that you're considering. So with that, staff is recommending that the City Council waive the second reading of the ordinance as proposed and adopt said ordinance. And said ordinance, if approved, then would become effective in 30 days from this date. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Rivas. Are there any questions for staff from the council? Seeing none, I'd like to open the public hearing on this item. Any member of the public wish to speak? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and bring it back to council for
I'll move
discussion.
the second
Great.
reading and adopt the ordinance.
Second.
It's been moved by Vice Mayor Hagan, seconded by Councilmember Borelli, and all those in, sorry, Pat, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. All right. Let's see. Item 11, discussion action items, none scheduled. We have already done council reports. Items pulled from the consent calendar, so that's 8.1, the minutes. And Councilmember Wilkins, there were some corrections.
Yes. Oh, okay. On item 9.1 in the minutes of last meeting, I would like it noted that I asked Mayor Thomas to amend her motion to exclude the prohibiting the CCW holders from carrying in the park, and also noted that the request was denied. And is that, do I get an answer right now? That's part one.
Okay.
The second thing is, it was Councilmember Patton, not Councilmember Borelli, who seconded that motion.
Any other comments? No? Any member of the audience wish to comment on this? No? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to council for direction.
Move for approval with the changes.
On that one item.
I'll second that.
With the
This,
changes, because it was me that made the second.
Right, so moved by Councilmember Patton, seconded by Mayor Thomas. All those in favor? Aye. All right, thank you for those corrections. City manager and staff reports. Mr. Morris.
I just have one item. I probably should have done this at the beginning of the meeting, seeing most everyone has left. But as we mentioned, the approval of the agreement with the Police Officers Association included the restoration of half of our MTO time. In order to implement that time, what we have implemented as far as office hours for all city facilities is we have added the time in the beginning of the day. On Monday through Thursday, we are now open from 7:30 to 5:30 at City Hall, Town Hall, and the Police Department. So if someone is an early riser or wants to get that done, some work done before they head off to work, we're now open at 7:30, and we're still open till 5:30 in the evening. So,
And our new hours posted on our website?
yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
Well, that could be especially helpful for the construction industry or business owners.
It has not been, I think it's been done, well, George is behind the curtain over here, but.
But it will be posted.
I believe that may have already been done. I haven't looked at it specifically. We haven't got it on our doors yet because that takes some work, but we'll put up a temporary sign to let people know of that, and then we'll get the permanent changes.
Still closed on Friday.
Still closed on Friday, yes.
All right. Thank you very much. Upcoming items, besides the park ordinance?
Because we have a long break now until August 13th, we have not identified specific items. Other than that one, we'll probably be back at that time. So
All right.
we'll let you know on those.
And with that, it is 7:12. I'd like everyone to know that, yes, Councilmember Patton.
Before we leave, I noticed when we got a copy of the CIP, the actual paper copy, that Councilmember Wilkins' name was still omitted from the flow chart. So I just want to make sure we brought it up before, make sure that her name gets posted on
Okay,
that.
I will make sure that's
Okay.
done.
Thank
We
you.
apologize, Councilmember Wilkins.
All right. And with that, we will adjourn. Our next council meeting will be held on August 13th, 2013, 5 p.m. closed session, 6 p.m. regular session, and we hope our staff just enjoys this longer break and time off. And so glad to have you with us tonight, Mr. Rivas. And with that, we will adjourn for the night. So good night, Placerville.